Hi there and welcome back to another video on my channel. How are we doing today? Today I'm going to be making Cupcake Jemma's mini ombre cakes, but of course they're going to be gluten-free, lactose-free and yeast-free. I thought that these looked absolutely stunning and I just had to give them a go. Plus they are blue, which is my favourite colour of all time. You will be needing the following equipment: some scales, a measuring jug, some measuring spoons, 4 7-inch cake tins. You can use 4 6-inch cake tins, but this will just make your cakes that little bit thicker. A sieve, some baking paper, a pencil, some scissors, some spray oil, 4 bowls or 4 small mixing bowls. I'm sorry I emphasised that. I've been saying this the last 10 minutes and I could not get it right. A teaspoon, 3 large mixing bowls, a wooden spoon or an electric hand whisk, a spatula, a palette knife, and I personally think it's going to be easier to use one that is offset rather than straight. A cake tester, a skewer, a teaspoon handle or a toothpick to see that your cakes are cooked. A cooling rack, 1 large piping bag, a tall glass, an elastic band, a piping nozzle, although that is completely optional, a bread knife or a serrated knife, a round cookie cutter, mine is 2 3/4 inches or 7 centimetres, a chopping board, and a plate. You will also be needing the following ingredients. For your sponges you will be needing 40 millilitres of milk. I like to use lactose-free milk, 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, some food colour paste or some food colouring. I have gone with the colour blue, although that is completely optional. 250 grams of butter softened to room temperature. I like to use lactose-free butter. 250 grams of caster sugar, 4 medium-sized eggs, and 250 grams of gluten-free self-raising flour. And for your buttercream you will be needing 170 grams of icing sugar sifted, 75 grams of butter softened to room temperature. I like to use lactose-free butter, and a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So let's go! First things first, measure out and prepare all of your ingredients so that they're completely ready for you to use, and then preheat your oven to 180 degrees C on a conventional oven, 160 degrees C on a fan oven, or gas mark 4. So now it is time to prepare our cake tins. So for this we will be needing our cake tins, our baking paper, our pencil, our scissors, and our spray oil. So the first thing we're going to do is take out our baking paper and roll it out, placing our cake tin on top as close to the edges as possible so we waste as little paper as possible. There we go. Now we're going to draw around the bottom of it with our pencil. Okay. So now we're just going to cut this out. Okay. So now we're just going to give our cake pan a quick spray with some oil. Sticking our baking paper down with the side that we drew on facing down. That way. And then I personally like to give the baking paper a quick spray with some oil as well, so that it comes off easier when we finish cooking. Okay, so now that that's all done, we are going to repeat this with the rest of our cake tins. Then we're going to place them off to the side until we're ready to bake. So now that we've done all that nasty prep work, it is now time to begin actually making our cakes. So for this we will be needing our milk, our vanilla extract, our spatula, our food colouring or food colour paste, our teaspoon, our 4 bowls or 4 small mixing bowls, and I've actually grabbed some kitchen roll as well just for in between mixes. So to start with, we are going to place our vanilla extract into our milk. And we're going to mix them together until they are well combined. And now we're going to separate our milk mixture between our 4 bowls, putting about 2 tablespoons of this mixture into each bowl. So now we're going to open our food colouring. Oh, I'm going to need my scissors for this, aren't I? Here they are. And then leaving the first one, there we go. Leaving the first one plain, we are going to add blue food colouring to our bowls in different variants. So we want one quite light, and then we're going to add more to the 3rd bowl and then more to the 4th bowl. Just do it until they reach the colours that you'd like your cake to be. So that one's going to be plain, so I'll actually move you out the way so I don't get confused. Let's pop you in this first one. There we go, get off. Mix this and see how we get on. So wipe that off. Now my next one. Don't worry if it stays a bit bitty, because that will just get mixed in when you mix the cake batter into it. And then my third and final bowl. Okay. So now that this is all done, we're going to place these off to the side until we finish making our cake mix. So now it is time to begin making our cake batter. So for this we will be needing all of our cake ingredients, our first large mixing bowl, our spatula, our wooden spoon or electric hand whisk, and our sieve. So to start with, we are going to add our butter to our first large mixing bowl. Get off. Followed by our caster sugar. Sprinkle, 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 sprinkle. Scraping down the sides as per usual. And now we're going to beat these together until they are really pale and fluffy. About 5 minutes roughly. Oh, I've done this the wrong way, hold on. There we go. So now it is time to add one of our eggs to our mixture at a time. We are first going to crack it into our spare bowl, one of the spare bowls we had from earlier, because then if you have any shells or anything, you can get them out. Plus, this just, I don't know, it's what Cupcake Jemma did and I'm copying her, okay? There's no real logic behind it, I'm just doing that, okay? So now we're going to mix each egg individually into our mixture until our mixture is well combined, and we want it to be really light, silky and whipped. So now is the time when we're going to need our sieve, so let's just place that over here. We are then going to place all of our flour into our sieve, slowly, there we go. And then we're going to sieve all of this into our mixture. Last few scraps in here as well. And now using our trusty spatula, we are going to slowly fold this into our mixture so that we don't lose any of the air. And I like doing that by going, first of all, round the mixture to make sure it all stays together. Then I like going around it, but then going under it at the end and flicking over. This will take some time, but it is worth it, I can assure you. So now that's basically done, so I'm just going to scrape round the sides of my mixing bowl, and give it 1 or 2 last folds for good luck. 3, why not? Okay, what's the next bit? Okay, so for this next bit I'm going to need my scales and my second large mixing bowl. So now we're going to place our second large mixing bowl into our scales and turn our scales on set to 0. There we go. Then we're going to tip all of, oh, nearly dropped it then, all of this mixture into this second bowl. There we go. So how much is in there? 915. 15? So now that we've got this measured out, we are going to divide this by 4 and then grab our bowls we prepared earlier. Okay, so I divided my mixture, and 915 divided by 4 is about 229. So I'm going to put my first bowl on. I'm starting with the lightest and then I'm going to gradually get darker because I'm using the same spatula and I don't want the colours to mix too much. So I'm going to turn my scales on with my first bowl on, set that to 0, and then I'm going to add 229 grams of my mixture to this. There we go, 229. So then repeat this with the rest of your bowls, going from lightest to darkest, as I say, so that we don't mix up the colours. So now we're going to begin folding our milk into each of our bowls, starting with the lightest bowl, moving to the darkest colour, until the milk is fully combined with the cake mixture. I've also got some kitchen roll here to wipe in between each cake batch, so that not too much of the colour gets mixed up with the other ones. And it's the same folding technique that I used earlier. So now that this is all done, we are going to need our prepared cake tins and our palette knife. So using our spatula, we are going to place our cake mixtures into our cake tins. We are then going to use our palette knife to flatten off the top of each cake batter. And I've also got a kitchen towel here, as I said, for the spatula before, with the mixtures, just to wipe off in between so that we don't spread each mixture into each cake. So now that these are all done, we're going to place them into our preheated oven for 20 to 25 minutes. And you can check that they're cooked with a cake tester, a teaspoon handle, a skewer or a toothpick, and it comes out completely clean. That's when you know they're cooked. Once they've finished cooking, we are going to take them out of the oven, placing them onto a cooling rack to cool until we finish making the buttercream icing. So now that our cakes are out of the oven and are cooling, it is now time to begin making our buttercream icing. So for this, we will be needing our wooden spoon or electric hand whisk, our spatula, our third large mixing bowl, and all of our buttercream ingredients. So the first thing we're going to do is place all of our butter into our large mixing bowl. And now we're going to beat this until it becomes pale in colour. So now that this is looking lovely and pale, I'm going to add half of my icing sugar to my mixing bowl. Probably about there. And now I'm going to beat this together until it is well combined and really well beaten. Come on, stop getting away with my stuff. And now I'm going to repeat that exact same process with my second half. Let's go. So now that this is all done, I'm now going to add my vanilla extract. And I'm also just going to scrape round the sides of my mixing bowl as well. And now I'm going to give this one final mix for good luck until all of the vanilla is well incorporated into my mixture. So now that this is done, I'm going to need my tall glass, my piping bag, my scissors and my elastic band. So now I'm going to open up my piping bag. By the way, if you wanted to use a nozzle, now would be the time to do it. So we open this up. If you're adding a nozzle, you would add that in now and then trim off the end. I'm going to trim off the end ready for me later. So I'm going to trim off, oh shoot, about an inch I would say, maybe a bit smaller. Now I'm going to place that into my tall glass. Maybe if I move that a bit closer, it would be easier. Wrap the edges around my tall glass, and then using an elastic band, I'm going to wrap that around my piping bag, around my tall glass, so that as I add my buttercream to my tall glass, the piping bag doesn't fall in and then it just makes it a massive mess that didn't need to be. So now I'm going to add all of my buttercream to my piping bag. There we go. So now I'm going to move my elastic band to the bottom of my tall glass. Unwrap my piping bag. There we go. Push my buttercream down. There we go. Twist it. And then using the elastic band we used earlier, I'm going to tie this off. I am doing this again because this prevents it going all over your hands while you're piping. So now place this off to the side until we're ready to decorate. So my cakes have finally finished cooling and they look and smell amazing. I've actually placed them onto some baking paper because it actually, I think, well, I'm not going to lie, I stole this from Cupcake Jemma, but I thought that this would make cleanup easier and it would save my work surface getting dirty, so it actually bodes really, really well. So now I'm actually going to trim the top off of these cakes. So for that I will be needing my bread knife. So I'm actually going to cut the top off of each of these cakes because look how brown they are. You know, once I trim that, the bright colours will show through, and that is exactly what I want. I also want the slices of these cakes to be really, really level. So doing this is going to work perfectly. Oh, I'm too old for this. Oh, look at that lovely colouring. Okay, I'm just going to pick Shep up. Give me a second. You basically want it so that the tops have as little brown stuff on it as possible. So now that I've finished levelling, I'm going to need my cookie cutter. So now that I've got my cookie cutter, I'm going to cut out as many shapes as I can from my cakes and then discard anything that I'm not using. So you see that we've still got the brown stuff. We've got the brown stuff on the top a little bit and at the bottom. So we're actually just going to trim that lot off as well on all of these. So again, repeat this with the rest of your cakes and I'll see you after that. So now it is time to decorate. So for this we will be needing our cake slices, our plate and our piping bag. So we are going to start by icing the darkest gradient of the colour you've chosen to use. So then we are just going to grab our icing. Oh, it's had a little bit of spillage on the way out. And I am going to, you can pipe in whatever way you want. You can pipe blobs around the edges, but I'm personally going to do a spiral going from the inside out. There we go. I'm quite chuffed with that. So now we're going to put the next bit on. Pressing down slightly so that they stick together. And now I'm going to repeat that all the way to the top of my cake. Okay, so now I'm at the top. I don't actually know whether to just leave it bare or do another one. I think I might leave it bare. I think it looks quite beautiful as it is actually. Let's see. Get you out of my way. No, I actually really like that the way it is. So now repeat this exact same process to the rest of your cakes and I will see you after that. And that is it. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out all the links in the description as I love them all and wouldn't put them there if I didn't, including the recipe for these lovely cakes, and where you will also find the links for all the flour and equipment you need for this recipe. If you do make these at home, don't forget to tag me on Instagram and use the hashtag bakingwithvickiie so that I can see all your lovely creations. Also, don't forget to tag Cupcake Jemma and hashtag Cupcake Jemma so that she can see them as well. Let me know in the comments below of anything else you'd like to see me make gluten, lactose or yeast free, as I do them all. And finally, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you next time. Bye!